I said finally get Bryan Mbeumo. Finally secure Bryan Mbeumo. You've got the here we go. Deal has been completed. Terms agreed between clubs, and I think personal terms have also been agreed. So it's just a thing of him passing his medicals now, and then you get the official announcement, from Manchester United. I think the deal is reported or rumored to be worth £71 million. So I think it's £65 million guaranteed with an additional £6. So with an additional £6 million. So how do I feel about this? Well, I'm not a Manchester United fan. I'm a Chelsea fan for sure. But for Manchester United fans, how do you feel about this? I think some people have been going around to compare who's got the better deal. Jao Pedro, looking at how much was paid for him. Looking at Gittins. People are looking at how much Liverpool paid for Florian Wirtz. So how much they may pay for Hugo Ekitike if that deal flow comes through. How much they may pay for Alexander Isak. But for me, the figures are the figures. You can't really, fight the market. Sometimes the market forces just determine how much you pay. Now, what would determine who's got the better deal is who actually performs. If Bryan Mbeumo goes on to score 30 goals and 20 assists, making 50 goal contributions this season, no one will talk about his how much was paid for him. The same thing for Florian Wirtz. If he goes on to score maybe 15 to 18 goals with an additional 25 assists, then no one is going to complain. No one is going to say, "Oh, you spent that much for the player." No one is going to complain. Same thing with Jao Pedro. If he goes on to score, say, 25 goals with an additional maybe 5 to 6 assists, 7 assists, 30 plus goal contributions, no one is going to complain. No one is going to say, "Oh, but this Chelsea spent this much on you and you're only able to score 25 goals." No one is going to complain. The real litmus test is when the season starts, how does that player help the team win? Is it Chelsea? Is it Manchester United? Is it Liverpool? Is it Arsenal? So it depends on what the player actually does. It may seem like it's simple to say, but that's the only true way. Because Nicholas Jackson, Chelsea fans who know this, Nicholas Jackson was bought for, is it £30 million? And everyone is still complaining. No one is saying, "Oh, we bought him for such low figures, so that's fine." You will still complain. You will still feel bad when that player misses a chance to score a goal. When that player, doesn't convert easy chance. When that player doesn't see, his teammate making the right runs to give the right pass to, you will still complain. If the team doesn't end up winning the Champions League or win the league title or win any trophy or finishing in the top four, you would still complain. Fans will still complain. Complain about the players. For me right now, it doesn't really matter about the funds. Now, for Bryan Mbeumo, I think Manchester United, I didn't get quite shortchanged, or even if they got shortchanged, they shortchanged their own selves. Typical. They could have made the deal for £65 million, so they're about inclusive, but they went on this trying to do this power play. And sort of fans kind of love this nowadays where your club wants to act like they're bigger than everyone else. This power play with Brentford. But people forget the Premier League has changed. It's changed from back in the days when you used to have Bolton in the Premier League, when some Allardyce would have to, get some 35-year-old ex-Real Madrid player, get a 38-year-old ex-Real Madrid player, get a player that no one wants and just band them together and, hopefully, and kept them in the Premier League for a long time. Now, everyone has money. Just a question of, how much money you have. It's just a question of the disparity in funds, the disparity within the wealthy. That's what it is. Every club in the Premier League has money. Because even the clubs that go down right now go down with about £100 million plus. That's the bottom team goes down with about £100 million plus. So you can imagine how much a club like Brentford would have had. And Brentford over the years haven't really been spending crazy on players. So they were under no pressure to sign. And people say, "Oh, we don't want any club to get to rip us off. We don't want any club to take advantage of our club." But sometimes when you see a good deal, you might as well take it. You might as well take the good deal as opposed to trying to be too smart, as Manchester United tried to do, and they got their, rear end handed to them, and they've now had to pay 70 plus million pounds. So, Manchester United fans, how you feeling about the player? How you feeling about the deal finally being completed? What other players would you like to see your club get? And now, going on to other players now, Aray Porabo, Nigerian Wonderkid, I've talked about him on this channel. I've done a reaction video on this channel about him as well. He was signed by Lillestrøm. I've said that on this channel as well. And now he's now been sent on loan to Mjøndalen. The Mjøndalen, a Norwegian club, still in the same league with Lillestrøm, but I think they're lower down the table. And the plan is he gets game time there to play, and that's what I hope. I hope he does get game time there. I hope things operate differently in Norway than it does in the Premier League, because Premier League sometimes you see players, you see a club get a player on loan and don't play the player, i.e. Nottingham Forest with Andre Santos. Get a player on loan, which to my mind should be, we're getting a player on loan because we don't have the resources to acquire that player. We don't have the resources to buy a player for that role, but we'll just, get this loan deal, share the salary, and use that player. But instead, the player you've got on loan that is meant to be a stopgap or to fulfill a need, you keep the player on the bench, and the player doesn't get to play. So I just hope he gets to play. He needs to get game time. He seriously needs to get game time, because I think he's a phenomenal talent. And now the reasons he's not playing for Lille, he's not playing for Lillestrøm and he's going on loan, I think there's something else there to discuss, and we'll talk about it in a different video. But happening right now, he's going on loan, and I know he's super talented and he's going to crush it in the Norwegian league. So looking forward to bringing you more details about the move and his stats and his gameplay in the Norwegian league. So keep your eyes peeled on this page. So at this point, I'd like to say, please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Click the notification bell so you're notified each time a video comes on this channel, whether it's live or pre-recorded video. And so we move on to the last, definitely not least topic. So Chelsea have announced their, scholars for the 2025-2026 season, and amongst those names are two players I want to keep an eye on. That rather I've been keeping an eye on. The first one is Chizi Izewanta. Obviously eligible to play for Nigeria, been scoring tons and tons of goals for the various age grade sides for Chelsea. He's got lots of goals, and hopefully come the start of this season he picks up from where he left off. I think has he also met Eric Chell? I think there's a picture I saw him and Eric Chell, the head coach of the Nigerian national team. He's a superbly talented player, and we'll be bringing you more on this player, on this channel. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. So Chizi Izewanta, top player, top young player. Keep your eyes peeled for that one. Hopefully, who knows? Maybe the under-20s he gets to play with them in the World Cup. Let's see how that shakes down. And then finally, last but not least, Chris Atherton. Must talk about Chris Atherton because he's a special player as well that Chelsea has signed. 16-year-old. I think he's the youngest player in, the British history to have made his first team debut. I think it was 13 years when he made his first team debut for Garvon. I think that's the name of his club. So, an exciting player. I've watched a few clips of him, obviously, and would like to see what he does for, the age grade size at Chelsea, and maybe he impresses enough to get, some game time in Carabao Cup or FA Cup games. So that's the three things I want to talk about on this video. I'd like to know your personal opinions in the comment section. If there are players and things you'd like us to discuss on the channel, let me know about this point. Of course, at the end of this video, I'd like to say, have a splendid rest of your day. Stay well, stay blessed. Bye bye.